Listen, mobility is not flexibility, and you're probably not going to get more mobile just by stretching. So today, we're going over both. Welcome back, recruits, to the 8th Iron Strong session. I'm Coach Caden, the owner of Iron Strong Training. I've been coaching since I got out of high school, and I've had the pleasure of training everybody from youth to pro athletes to everyday individuals. This is the newest video in a series where I'm going to share as much of my knowledge and experience to you as possible. I've studied and taught all about exercise at the university level, and today we're going over mobility and flexibility. Specifically, our objectives for today are to explain flexibility and how to train for it, and explain mobility and how to train for it. First, the difference between flexibility and mobility. Different organizations have different definitions of flexibility, but in general, it's defined as the range of motion available to or around joints. Some organizations even divide this further into static flexibility, wherein we think about the range of motion during a passive stretch, or dynamic flexibility, wherein we think about the range of motion during active movement. This definition of dynamic flexibility is a lot closer to mobility, which also contains the flexibility, the strength, coordination, proprioception, and balance, all required to go into deep ranges of motion during active movement. Some factors that affect flexibility and mobility include the joint structure. So your shoulder, being a ball and socket joint, has a lot more range of motion available to it than your elbow, which is a hinge joint and largely has a lot less range of motion. It's also affected by your muscle and connective tissues. Although their contributions are largely unclear, their plasticity can be positively affected by stretching. In addition, they're also affected by your own stretch tolerance. So what can you withstand and define as a mild discomfort during stretching or going through a deep range of motion? They're also affected by neural factors, so the nervous system telling the tissues to allow themselves to relax and stretch versus being overactive and very tight. And finally, for our list today, your own muscle bulk. Yes, the size of your muscles can affect your mobility. This doesn't mean that getting bigger automatically means you're less mobile. But for example, if you have really big biceps and really big forearms, but not an equal amount of mass on the front deltoid, then trying to sit in a front rack carry like a clean or a front squat might be very difficult without loosening your grip and letting a two-finger grip take over. So the muscle bulk and the idea of less mobile bodybuilders definitely has some merit to it. When it comes to training guidelines, there are really only specifics for flexibility. We went over dynamic stretches, which are sometimes called mobility drills by the NSCA, in our first video. We do these before or after a training session for about 5 to 10 reps, trying to increase the range of motion a little deeper each rep. The ACSM recommends doing these twice a week at least, or all the way up to daily. And instead of reps, they recommend doing 3 to 6 sets lasting 30 to 90 seconds of doing the dynamic stretch or the mobility drill as many times as you can, with about 15 seconds of rest in between. For static stretching or general flexibility training, the ACSM recommends doing it at least 2 to 3 times a week or daily at most. This involves stretching a joint to the point of mild discomfort or tension and holding that stretch for 10 to 30 seconds until you rest, accumulating a total of 90 seconds per each joint. Although for older adults, it's recommended that 30 to 60 seconds of holding that stretch might be a little bit more beneficial. One last type of stretching is PNF, or proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. What a mouthful. This usually involves a mild effort isometric contraction, trying to move the body against something that won't move, for about 3 to 6 seconds, followed by an assisted stretch of 10 to 30 seconds. If I had friends, I would show you. Lastly, for mobility training, your biggest tool for mobility is resistance training. Picking an exercise that allows you to get into a deep range of motion at a joint while maintaining posture control not only gives you an assisted stretch to those tissues, but also builds strength and coordination around that range of motion, allowing you to move actively through it. Again, this depends on the exercise you choose. If I choose a machine that does not allow me to get into a deep stretch, then I won't get a lot of improvements to my mobility by doing that exercise unless I adjust the machine somehow or I pick a new one. This also depends on the intensity or load that you're doing. Range of motion is a variable in exercise, just like volume or intensity. We can all quarter squat a lot more weight than we can full squat. But if my goal is mobility, then picking a load that allows me to squat all the way down while having good posture is the right choice for me. Sometimes this might even mean doing a squat with less than body weight if body weight is too much intensity for you. Bottom line is, pick an exercise variation and an intensity that allows you to go through those deep ranges of motion while actively moving through them. That's really all there is to training for mobility. It's quite simple. Thanks for watching. Your viewership is very much appreciated. If you'd like to support the channel even more, go down and click the notification bell, leave a like, and subscribe to join the Iron Strong Army. If you have questions or suggestions for future videos, drop a comment below, or if you just want to join and hang out with the community. If you still don't know how to go about your training, click the link in my bio and fill out the coaching application so we can smash those goals together. That's all for now, and remember, forge your destiny.